Oh, hell no!
Here are my final impressions for the shows that ended in winter. Let's start with the easiest ones. Every light novel adaptation is a fucking piece of crap, and yet you plebs keep trying to fool yourselves thinking that they are amazing because the premise sounds cool. When will you learn? Special mention for the second season of Log Horizon, which most of you consider a masterpiece because it's even better than Sword Art Online, as if that is a hard thing to do. The first season was somewhat enjoyable for the slice of life aspects in a video game, but the second one is a complete waste of time, since by now the novelty wore off and the production values went to shit. Thus, once again, it is proven how all light novels are a waste of time, brain cells, and semen. And yet you still haven't realized it. And that includes Durarararararara, which I still don't understand why so many people find amazing to the point it gets greenlit for so many seasons. It's a mess of stuff happening without a focus, and I don't give a shit about any of the stereotypical characters in it. Bad taste is bad. Moving to one-note type of shows, stuff that are only moe and some other barely explored theme going on in them, thus becoming boring and forgettable after a few episodes. Moving to shows that try to be more than what they could handle and failed spectacularly. Sengoku Musu tried to be mindless fun like Sengoku Basara, but was too boring in presentation, thus nobody cared about the rehash of the exact same premise. Yoru no Yaterman tried to be a deconstruction of the traditional roles good guys and bad guys have in kid shows, but the tone was very inconsistent, jumping from grim to goofy to lolly fan service, thus failing to be any of the above. The inconsistent tone is what also ruined Your Lie in April. What could have been a run-of-the-mill, nothing ever happens romantic school bullshit ends up being retarded tragic moments kicked to the side by done-to-death retarded comedy skits. Yono of the Dawn is like a cheap shoujo version of Seri no Moribito. It tries to be this semi-serious fantasy adventure about a princess trying to regain her throne, but it's way too slow and the constant comedic moments ruin the atmosphere. Add how it plays out like a reverse harem and you got yourself a boring mess of a forgettable series. The second season of Tokyo Ghoul is a fucking travesty. The first one was also shit, but this one goes for its own storyline and nothing makes sense. Also, almost all of this season is wasted on a single battle in a prison with terrible animation. Death Parade is amazing because the opening is good. And if that is all it takes to excuse all the episodic bullshit, the unexplored concept, and the overblown dramatization, then you're idiots for liking it. The second season of Alt Noah Zero continues to be amazing because the name Uro Butcher is mentioned in it and all of you overhyped it as a masterpiece for treating people as plot devices, mass extermination as a spectacle, and a troll cliffhanger where major characters die, only to magically survive in the next episode. All of which are supposed to be excused as good writing so Uro Butcher fags can fap to another masterpiece made by the most overrated writer in anime history. Then we have a trio of shows that have lots of good ideas but are all ruined by the stupid fanservice. I don't give a shit if tits and ass are supposed to be symbolic or are used for character development or the setting looks detailed and interesting. It's just deviant fanservice for basement-dwelling overthinkers and does nothing but destroying any show it is part of. A slightly above average title is Seven Deadly Sins. It's fairly average in terms of plot and characters and the fanservice is too much, but at least it manages to be mindless fun in the likes of the original Dragon Ball. It doesn't excel anywhere, but it is fast-paced and has cool action scenes, so I'm willing to forgive the terrible soft porn that has ruined anime. Another slightly above average series is Garo, a dark action fantasy with a semi-episodic plot regarding monster slayers who protect mankind from demons. It is very good at making you feel depressed and it's not holding back when it comes to killing a lot of characters. And that is pretty much all it is doing since the story is fairly simple, slow, and almost aimless since you are never given the impression there can be catharsis, much less a happy ending. It's not a bad title, but it doesn't motivate you to keep watching it if you are never given any objective other than kill the demon of the episode and save as many people as you can. This leaves us with the only worthy completed title in this god-awful season, which is of course Parasite. The exact same title I always knew it would be amazing because it is the only one based on a retro manga. Yet another proof of why retro always wins, but you never listen. All you were doing was nagging because the main character looked different for a few episodes, and then how the dubstep music was nice. I say it's the best title of 2014 and so far the best of 2015. And if you disagree, you have no taste. Now go back to fapping to your Death Parade opening, you tasteless casuals! I'm happy with my JoJo and my Gundam Origin masterpieces. Average score of the season, 2.8 out of 10. Plain awful. What? You think it deserves more? Let me see you try to score these shows any better, you dorks, plebs, weeboos! By the way, give me money. Here I am, with my last impressions for the upcoming spring season. What's that? The season hasn't even begun? I shouldn't rush to judge it? What are you talking about, you plebs? All it takes is to see a picture and a synopsis. Anyways, excluding pathetic soft porns, aimless, more forgettable school comedies, worthless light novel adaptations, and sports, this is what I saw from 3 months in the future. From franchises that never seem to be willing to give up, we have yet another Senseiya series, which nobody cares about after Omega ruined it forever. Yet another Looping the Third, in case 1000 episodes with no plot or character development, where weren't enough already. Another Dragon Ball movie, where you don't need to think of something new in the story anymore. All it takes is changing a few colors. And of course, more Gintama, where mentioning terms from Shonen Jump titles is supposed to be funny. Naruto Bankai Kamehame. Ah, so funny, I made a reference. Extra seasons include the disappearance of Yuki Nagato, where the milking of a saturated franchise based on time resets and more blob goddesses continues. Even though it's been 4 years since Madoka Magica took over the role as the most deep anime ever. And nobody gives a shit about Haruhi anymore. Her voice actress had sex. The second Fate Stay Night. Make sure not to forget to rate it with a 10 before the first episode is out, because it is amazing to see unlimited budget works that don't spend a single yen on making the plot anything more than a generic death tournament or the dialogues any better than sitting on a table and for the next 30 minutes info dumping bullshit like the archer class is made of archers. While of course never admitting it's a porn game adaptation. Porn game, it's a porn game, you're watching a porn game. Another season of Digimon where everybody's going to watch it out of nostalgia. As long as it isn't X-Ross, it will be enjoyable. But since we are watching it for the nostalgia, there is no reason for the scriptwriter to try harder than the one from Pokemon does. Ghost in the Shell gets another TV series, but since it's based on the abomination created by Yobukata, it will suck ass. The Second Knights of Sidonia, where the space version of Attack on Titan continues with equally awful script and cheap-ass CGI for people with very low expectations. And as if one knockoff wasn't enough, there is also Owari no Seraph, where instead of giant naked zombies, you have giant monsters and vampires. The protagonist is otherwise equally obnoxious and one-dimensional. And as if one show about vampires wasn't enough, there is also Vampire Holmes, which is a mystery detective series with zero budget CGI, thus combines the worst aspects of the previous 2 titles. Secured failures with famous names in them include Kekai Sensen. Although many casuals are excited about it for being made by the same dude who did Trigun, it is animated by Bones, and we all know what that means for the plot. Kyukai no Rine is an action fantasy title which many are excited about for being made by Rumiko Takahashi, but we all know she stopped giving a shit after what she did with Inuyasha, thus it's going to suck. Gunslinger Stratos is going to make $1 trillion and be analyzed to death because the name Uro Butcher is mentioned somewhere in there. And just like all his other works, I made a critical overview about it where we say it sucks. But since I forgot to bring it with me from the future, you need to wait a few months. And now the only 3 titles that I liked from the future. Plastic Memories is the exact same thing as Chobits, and as long as it doesn't become too overblown in drama and ruined by fan service, it will be a decent time waster and nothing more. Arslan Senki is a mediocre epic fantasy tale. I don't care if it's written by the Galactic Heroes dude and drawn by the Full Metal Alchemist chick. All I know is that anime and western fantasy suck ass, and that being average is a great achievement. Well done for being average, Arslan Senki. And then there is Ninja Slayer, a completely retarded schlock action flick with ninjas and shit. Obviously the title of the season for its style alone. What's that? What about blood and serious themes? Well, excuse me, I am limited to what came out this season. It's not like we are back in the glorious 80s or something. Enjoy your modern anime, people! These were my impressions from the end of spring, before wishing to be a god and resetting time so I can have an alternative universe where I milk more money out of tasteless casuals.
I love little girls, they make me feel so good. I love little girls, they make me feel so bad. Isn't this a dream come true? Isn't this a nightmare? I love little girls, they make me feel so good.
Quality's dropping, CGI sucks. Maybe this time there's no excuse, there's no denial. Moa is rising, killing all the rest, feeding the weeboos with waifus down in the basement. Every time, disappointment every time. We'll be watching cartoons once again tonight. Boy, we need some oldies. If we gonna make it like a true anime fan, we need some retro. If we just take rom-coms away from here, we need passionate remakes to believe in, huge biceps and a very old feeling. Retro. If we gonna make it like a true anime fan. Whoa, calling from the 80s. Retro rise again, giving us ships and mecha that don't look like total shit. Boy, we need some oldies. If we gonna make it like a true anime fan, we need some retro. If we just take VNs away from here, we need passionate remakes to believe in. Pumping pictorials are a very good feeling. Retro. If we gonna make it like a true anime fan, the elitist stands alone when with tasteless casuals is done. They feel butthurt if one-on-one. Every time, disappointment every time. We'll be watching 80s shows again tonight. We don't need some high schools. If we gonna make it like a true anime fan, we need some retro. If we just take LNs away from here, we need a gar passion to be alpha. Iron triceps are a very good feeling.
Oh, hell no!
Let's see what the beginning of the wonderful 2016 has in store for us, besides more Syrian refugees and suicide bombers. Starting with the worst of the season, we have this cash grab called Phantasy Star Online 2. It turned out to be worse than I expected, since I assumed it would be a low-effort presentation of the in-game story. But nope, that's not it. It's just a boring school comedy where some kids are playing the video game and it's all done in shitty CGI. And holy shit, that cringy ending song with the birds and the robot. This is not promoting the game, you idiots. It makes it look lame. Moving to everything I consider being a failure. You know what I think about these three, since I made separate videos about them. It all comes down to light novels are trash and you should feel bad for liking them. A light novel I didn't make a video out of is Konosuba. I didn't expect it to be your obligatory no game no life pandering where some neat hikikomori goes in a video game world full of pretty chicks and even more butt shots. It's always the same shit with these light novels, isn't it? I also made a video about Erased, which, as I predicted, it sucks because time resets are bullshit. These three turn out to be as generic and boring as I expected them to be. They are not even fun to watch, so they fail for what they are trying to accomplish. Dimension W is also, as I predicted it to be, a generic action show. What I didn't expect were the butt shots. Holy shit, so many butt shots that throw it down to trash level. Same thing with Active Raid. The mindless action is good on its own, but then they fuck it up with fan service. Then we have these two porn game adaptations, which also turn out as I expected them to be. I mean, holy shit, I even predicted they would be flying and showing their panties in Aokana. I'm amazing! As for that, as Farge's marking something, they keep trying to present it as the best visual novel of all times with complicating terminology and deep characters, when it's just gore porn where chicks with ridiculous head accessories are showing off their boobs and then get shred to pieces by ugly monsters. Yeah guys, so much maturity and depth. Pop. And we're not done with the edge category, as there is also Divine Gate. I assumed it would be another empowerment fantasy where kids get superpowers and save the world, but it turns out it's also full of edge. This is what I call a neo-emo type of series where some cool kids with trendy clothes and the power of the elements are having cool video game battles and then everybody's on the edge. Yeah, I can totally feel your misery when you wear such fashionable looking clothes. First world problems do not make you tragic. And there is even more edge with edging, or should I say edge in. I called it a dark horse and I said it would be good if it's more like Parasite and not more like Tokyo Ghoul. And it's more like Tokyo Ghoul. So much edge. Yeah guys, let's kill as many people as possible in as much horrible ways as we can, and let's do everything in shitty CGI. Also, that ending song, oh my god, look at all this urge as we kill people in a dozen ways. This show has so much urge. Yeah, and do you know what it doesn't have? Maturity and subtlety. Fucking piece of shit. Moving to fetish shit, which don't pretend to be epic action or horror, therefore they cannot fail. They are just a soft porn and exactly what I expected them to be. From sports, there is also the Prince of Stride. I made a video about it. It's a forgettable piece of shit, just like the rest of them, and parkour is not saving it. And now for the surprises of the season. Haruchika seemed to be an obligatory Hibike euphonium ripoff, but it's not trying to ponder something in specific. There are schoolgirls and music, but that's not the focus. There are also some silly mysteries, but it's more about the mentality of the characters. Meaning this is a low-budget hyoka, not a low-budget Hibike euphonium. Do I like it or recommend the show? No, fuck schools, low stakes, don't care. But at least it's not offending in any way. Similar things can be said about Showa Genroku something. I expected it to be shit because it's animated by Din, but it's otherwise okay as a slice of life story. Everybody's an adult, knows schools in present time, and deals with themes such as getting your life back together after imprisonment or remembering what it takes to make people happy. I mean, it's pretty forgettable once you finish watching it, but for what it is doing, it's subtle and mature about it, and I easily consider it to be the best of the season. So, what do I think of the season as a whole? It's terrible. It's as bad as Summer, which was the worst season since the fucking 70s. Not even a single above average show, no retro at all. Modern anime are dead and you should feel bad for liking them. The Sailor Moon manga didn't age well, aside from how the Precure franchise has been copying it for almost 2 decades, to the point its innovation doesn't mean anything anymore. Making a faithful adaptation was a bad idea and I was very bored while watching it. The third season has way less obvious CGI and is way more charming to watch, but without fleshing out the bad guys or having more cool down moments between battles, it was a drag to watch. The 90s version is by far better. Like retro always is. At first I was enjoying Cabaneri as a mindless zombie flick that does not pretend to be anything more. But then it became progressively more stupid by introducing titans, motorcycles, and an awful genocidal bad guy. It became the same shit as Attack on Titan as expected. Macross Delta is cancer. It is everything wrong with modern, but fucking everything that was great in retro. There is nothing memorable or exciting about it. The songs are used as Deus Ex Machina in every episode, for stopping every battle after a couple of minutes and have any outcome the lazy writers want to achieve. In the recent episode, singing in space deflects lasers. How does that even work, and what does it have to do with the amazing show of the 80s? Ace Attorney is lifeless. There is no energy in its animation, which combined with the source material that is basically pressing a button, reading walls of text, and then seeing grown men acting like they are chuny, the result is terrible. It was meant to be Rule of Cool and it's so cheaply animated that it comes off as retarded. Big Order is one of the most nonsensical pieces of shit I have seen in my life, and I have seen a lot. Future Diary was 10 times better and Future Diary is shit. It is as if the mangaka knew that everybody's going to watch this abomination because of the Yuno clone and didn't give a fuck about anything because he was going to make money regardless. That's what modern anime are all about. Selling based on name and don't give a crap about quality. Kuro Mukuro is way more enjoyable than I expected, and not because it's well written or has interesting characters, but because it's poking fun at cliches of old mecha. And even then it's not doing a very good job, since to the most part it's referential instead of satire or parody. Not complete shit, but not good either. Mayoiga was awful from start to finish, and I can't believe so many people found it to be an intentionally unintentional comedy, hailing it as if it's some sort of an instant cult classic. It was complete shit, with unmemorable characters, a plot that was slow and stupid, and full of ridiculous attempts at being scary or mysterious. Kisniver was edgelord bullshit, full of chuny characters that are treated as plot devices, and a premise that no sane man would even attempt to try out. Many filthy casuals were mesmerized by the opening, and think that made the show amazing. Holy shit, you guys, if a song is enough to amaze you, just watch music video clips and give up on anime. And now for a positive thing. The lesbian spin-off of Rage of Bahamut was cancelled. Yay! If only the same thing would happen to all modern anime, the medium would be saved. My Hero Academia was not only generic, it was also terrible in the way it was portraying heroism. I can't believe so many of you think it's the new Naruto. The designs are shit, everything is driven by plot conveniences. The protagonist is a total pussy and his rival belongs in a nut house. If that is the best modern fighting shonen can do, then you can imagine how low the bar of quality has fallen. The finale of Kumamiko will pass in history as one of the worst cases when it comes to maintaining the status quo. That's what happens when you treat your characters as punching bags until they are mentally destroyed and then pretend it was all a joke. ReZero quickly became the new Erased because time resets. It's the same shit as any other light novel, but the tasteless casuals continue to eat this garbage because it has a chuny protagonist who can never die and whose sole motivation is helping out cute girls he met a day day ago. If that is the best fantasy adventures can do, the bar is really low. What's the deal with Stray Dogs? There is nothing special about it. Nobody can say anything besides being a referential comedy, and it's still one of the most watched titles this season. How lower can the bar go? Joker Game was such a disappointment. I thought it would be an ongoing period drama about spies, and it ended up being episodic nonsense. By the time they explain what is going on, there is no time left for any character development or crafty plot twists. Everybody just jumps to conclusions and the issue is resolved in an anticlimactic way. And the saddest part, this is most likely going to be how the remake of Legend of the Galactic Heroes will be like. Concrete Revolution is bones being bones. Pretty colors, interesting ideas, and absolutely no idea of how to present them. Yet you still consider it to be one of the best studios because it looks pretty. The bar is really low. JoJo is yet again the only worthy anime airing right now because retro. Yet even that one is less exciting than the previous arcs. Everything takes place in a typical town, and there is a school and has powers to instantly heal wounds. There is no sense of adventure or much tension because of it. The second arc is by far the best. As for series that didn't begin or end in this season, Dragon Ball Super is still garbage and the new season is only milking the nostalgia for future Trunks. Toriyama is a sellout. And finally, Gundam is the best and the worst at the same time. Unicorn is a lifeless pile of shit, while Origin and Thunderbolt are some of the best titles in the franchise, preventing me from giving up on anime and once again proving that retro always wins!
You are shy! で空が散ってくる You are shy! 俺の胸に落ちてくる熱い心鎖で繋いでも今は無駄だよ邪魔するやつは指先一つで Don't stop! You are shy! はいでこと早くなる You are shy! お前もとめさまよ心今熱く燃えているすべてと化し無んざに飛び散るはずさ俺のと愛を守るためお前は旅立ち明日を入して微笑み忘れた顔など見たくはないさ愛を取り戻せ
Yeah, yeah, let me be like you. Hundreds of thousands listening to you, overthinking shit. Baby brains. More is amazing, has so much depth because it's very cute. Pretty colors, what matters? Gushing over pretty girls and jerking off to their doujin. What a wonderful community. Yeah, yeah, let me be like you. No critical thinking, it makes no money. Better have no opinion. Baby brains. Everything's great, state the obvious. That's what they want to hear. Crunchyroll pays me to be a drone, to make people watch whatever's there, and buy the merchandise, selling out my integrity. Yeah, yeah, let me be like you.
Oh, hell no!
Let's see how much I love the winter season. I haven't seen anything yet, but it's my favorite.
I'm so happy.
Cute girls doing cute divinations, cute girls doing cute music, cute girls doing cute cooking, cute witches doing cute magic. My Little Hero Witch Academia. Let's hope Gainax can finish it before Kara takes all their money. Cute girls doing cute bicycling, cute boys doing cute bicycling, cute Nekomimis doing cute meowing, cute animal girls doing cute things in the savannah, cute girls living in your fictional room, bring out the VR helmets, cute angels being good for nothing, cute girls fighting cute monsters, cute idols fighting cute corrupt politicians. Make Japan great great again. The sequel of the Prison School ripoff nobody cares about. The sequel of the Soul Eater ripoff nobody cares about. The sequel of that Chinese epic nobody cares about. The sequel of that porn game nobody cares about. The sequel of that generic fantasy anime with pretty colors nobody cares about. The sequel of that yaoi shit nobody cares about because they are busy watching Yuri on Ice. The sequel of that comedy everybody found amazing but will drop early on once they realize the jokes became stale. The sequel of that slice of nothing happens everybody says it's amazing but almost nobody watched. Another season of that comedy everybody says it has an amazing story after 700 episodes, yet they watch only for jump shonen references. Generic shonen nobody will care about, for Joshi bait crap nobody will care about. Another Edo Wawa Rampo show which of course nobody will like. Another semicolon show that tries to appeal to the Chuni fans of Steins Gate and which of course nobody will like. Chuni masturbation material conveniently named Handshakers and animated by Go Hands, go figure. Beautiful artwork but it's made by A1 Pictures so all the girls will be showing their butts 3 times per episode. At least it's better than that dull Tales of Zestiria. Sluts ripping each other's clothes in front of thousands of horny otakus. Yandere ripping soldiers apart just because. Monster Girls, the family-friendly version. Monster Girls, the tilt heads version. Another Joker game. You had your chance and you blew it, modern anime. Harem about pop idols. Harem about bullying tsunderes. Time reset every time you fuck a girl so you can fuck all of them without counting as cheating. Thus a harem. Karekano wannabe? Potential spotted. Whoa, such amazing variety. We will definitely have lots of shows to watch and love. Nothing like the retro times when we were getting few every season.
I'm so happy.
Let's check the thought-provoking deconstructions the spring anime have in store for us. Cute girls doing cute tourism, cute girls eating cute books, cute girls being cute plamo, cute boys doing cute cooking, sexy boy band doing generic boy band music, crazy hairstyles playing a serious children's card game, light novel trash with fantasy flavor, light novel trash with sci-fi flavor, light novel trash with school club flavor, light novel trash with fucking time resets flavor, I hate it already, light novel trash with battle harem flavor, light novel trash with battle harem flavor. Wait, didn't I just say that? Yes, I did, because it's the exact same thing. Light novel trash with light novel trash flavor. Light novelception. Vanilla school romance, vanilla comedy, vanilla harem, vanilla battle schools, vanilla gender bender, vanilla fantasy, vanilla pedobait, vanilla yandere bait, vanilla video game adaptation. One note comedy about making a deal with the devil. Milking the cow talk continues. The side story to that light novel trash, everybody hyped for the boob string.
Obviously aimed at people of plot.
Deviants masquerading as romance. Sci-fi politics with cancer CGI. School music band nobody's going to watch because it doesn't have more lesbians. Holy shit, they are still adopting this. The prequel to Astro Boy nobody will care about because it's not Astro Boy. The sequel to The Village nobody anymore believes it's about humanity trying to survive from monsters. The sequel to that generic shonen where the only thing they are doing is training to be psychotic lying bullies instead of heroes. The sequel to that CGI cancer with clang sounds. The sequel to that deconstruction which is just a parody about people making porn games. The sequel to that supernatural school comedy nobody's watching. The sequel to a fantasy slice of life very few noticed and even fewer care about. And finally, the sequel to the only worthy epic fantasy anime ever made, with the high risk of ruining the fun by having nothing else to show. Also the only title I am looking forward to. Boy, so much quality coming up. Can't wait to hate everything as usual. I checked out the summer roster and I found nothing of interest. Out of the 40 new series that begin airing in July, 4 of them are generic cute girls doing cute slice of nothing,
unlike nothing I've ever read before.
5 are generic cute girls doing cute fighting,
unlike nothing I've ever read before.
6 are generic cute boys doing cute slice of nothing,
unlike nothing I've ever read before.
6 are generic school romances,
unlike nothing I've ever read before.
2 are generic isekai based on trash novels,
unlike nothing I've ever read in a light novel before.
3 are dick riding recent deviant fetishes, 2 are action adventures where everybody's chibi, therefore they are not going to be anything above average. 1 is more of that pretentious overthinking porn game.
You can't really speak on like a deep level unless you understand it on a deep level.
1 is more of that pretentious overthinking harem.
Got one of my favorite character designs of all time. I love the stockings.
I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
2 are supposed to be action, but they are just gay shit for fujoshis.
There would be no sadness if we were super gay. Just unicorns and magic if we were super gay.
And the rest are a bunch of things I cannot think of something to say because they also look bland and are not retro.
Oh, hi there.
You caught me attempting suicide. Again.
Bro, come check this out.
Is it dragons?
No, it's just really pretty.
Why did you waste my time?
Food porn everyone will hype as the best school competition of the year. Pretty colors with no plot because bones. Basement dwellers projecting themselves as cute girls and pretending it's fun to be the waste of your society. Generic fighting shonen everyone will hype as fresh and original. Fighting shonen nobody will hype because they are not Black Clover. Porn game adaptation everyone will hype as a thought-provoking deconstruction. Discount Fate Stay Night nobody will hype because it's not a porn game made by Type Moon. Depressed genius being great at board games while surrounded by cute girls. Pop idols to jerk off to. Referential comedy and toilet humor. Discount Gintama. Comedies nobody will be hyping because they are not Gintama. Girls and their bikes watch civilizations burn. High school drama bullshit. Amnesia bullshit trying to fool people into watching it because the title reminds them of Code Geass. Revenge of the Old Guys. Magical girls trolling you to think there is tension. Made in Abyss clone for the Edgelords. Danganronpa clone for the Edgelords. My waifu is a slut virgin. Eromanga sensei clone because anime is shit and so am I. Discount Steven Universe nobody will hype because it doesn't have a huge DeviantArt fan base. Fujoshi bait crap. Cute girls doing cute things. Nerds advertising Plamo. And finally, Uro Butcher bullcrap proving once again what a failure he was all along.
Oh, hell no!
The Fate franchise keeps milking non-stop the porn gamers. It doesn't give a shit at this point, it's just finding lazy excuses to rehash the same characters. Most of the community is well aware of that and stopped giving a damn. From failures, Junji Ito manages to be more of a comedy than horror. Engi is a cheaply made remake of a shonen nobody knows or cares about. Kokoku is a show everyone talks about the opening theme and has nothing to say about the actual plot, because it's just random superpowers and a crappy mystery that can never make any sense, because superpowers. Spirit Pact is a Chinese isekai about gay dudes which nobody cares about because it's gay, not made in Japan, and doesn't have pretty colors. Grand Crest War is generic action fantasy with its only credentials being it's from the same guy who wrote Lodoss War. That was boring as hell. This is boring as hell too! Deathmarch is the obligatory Sword Art Online imitation of the season, and nobody calls it a masterpiece because they realized light novels are garbage that rehash the same ideas ad nauseum without ever doing something right. Overlord flopped in its second season because it's no longer about an overpowered Skeletor defeating everyone with no effort and amassing a huge harem of horny sluts. Now it's about world building and fleshing out minor characters. Stuff that nobody cares about in his garbage tier empowerment fantasy. Basilisk is a sequel nobody asked for a show most forgot almost immediately, and it's much more uneventful with way worse animation for anyone to give a damn about. Ramens desperately tries to be Durarara without having a plot and by constantly jumping from silly everyday activities to gruesome slaughter, constantly breaking immersion in the process. Bitless is a generic light novel trash about a blonde self-insert teenager in a sex bot doing boring fighting and then cosplay for several episodes because fuck you, plot! Be the Beginning is stereo in resonance if that bitch 5 was there since episode 1. Half of it tries to be a smart mystery detective story, and the other half is chuny bullshit and emo poetry about psychotic one-dimensional bad guys with superpowers. Aiko Incarnation is a generic sci-fi show about some cute girl looking for her real body while doing boring action stuff. There is absolutely nothing captivating about it, it's so painfully done by the numbers without making anyone memorable for any given reason, so you end up forgetting everything as soon as it's over. Darling in the Franxx is just about the sex memes and the references to older Gainax series. There is absolutely nothing interesting about it, the characters are archetypes, the plot is going nowhere, the action is boring, and it makes anime fans look like deviants who are jerking off to animated porn while overthinking the sex themes as something deep and meaningful. Devilman Crybaby is a story that has been refined and perfected over the decades by later series. It's full of great ideas, but does a terrible job at exploring them. And no, it's not Anime of the Year 3 days after the year began. How fucking stupid can someone be to say such a retarded thing? And finally, Violet Evergarden is about fucking nothing!
It's such a vapid show, people need to project their thoughts onto it just to find something to say. It's about PTSD, it's about romance, it's about social anxiety, it's about flower fucking symbolism. There is absolutely nothing of interest going on in it. Everyone is falling asleep watching it, and when they wake up they make up excuses for why they like the pretty colors so much. Absolutely horrible, and yet another example of why modern analysis comes down to talking about nothing. Then we have the fetishes, of which I find no purpose to talk about individually, since they can all be described with a couple of words at best. They also don't give a shit about telling a good story, so why bother explaining the premise or the plot? You're watching them to jerk off, and then you forget them the following day. Then we got the cute, relaxing series, which can all be summed up as cute whatevers doing cute whatevers. What is there to bother talking about? They are cute, you watch them to fall asleep, and forget everything by the time you wake up. At least you can't overthink them like some do with a fucking violent ever-god in its window symbolism. Then we get to two comedies, which despite their initial hype, were quickly abandoned by most. Pop Team Epic is just random references and celebrity voice actors, while Psyche gets boring very fast because the one pun joke can stay funny for only a couple of times. From sports, there is only Glory Hole, and I have no idea who is still watching this one since nobody talks about it. Sports are fighting shonen doing nothing but tournament arcs and have no stakes, so who cares? And finally, from Fighting Shonen, the stuff 99% all of you are watching and didn't bother with anything else I mentioned so far, there is only the second season of the 7 Deadly Sins. As far as I care, this is the anime of the season because steaks! With french fries and barbecue sauce. I mean, yeah, the power levels are bullshit and the plot is nothing special, but it's watchable without being too offensive. Minus the fan service, that's too cringy. And that's it from this trashy season. Can't wait to see what the idiots will be calling the best anime of the year 3 days after the spring season begins by making up door symbolism or something. Let's see the crap spring has in store for us. Gundam Build Divers and Lolly Sword Art Online are the lazy cash grabs of the season, just like the Fate Stay Night spin-offs were in winter, and nobody cares to hype them. There are a couple of mystery nonsense series, also nobody cares about, since anime suck at doing proper detective stories. There are a couple of schlock series you are watching just to waste your time, and even then you can't enjoy them because of the horrible handling of otherwise interesting premises. And there is a ton of edge, holy shit, so much edge, and it's all terrible. But remember, something is not edgy if you like it, and it's edgy if you don't. Ah, the third season of Tokyo Ghoul. You know, that show that forgot it had a plot and became all about psychotic mass murderers and symbolism? What could possibly go wrong in overanalyzing it?
Ayato surrounded by flowers, and it had a lot of meaning to the chapter. We all know that's fucked up so much, like right there, that is so sad. It's so sad, but it's so funny.
And then we got the rest of the failures, which are closer to disappointments for most of you, who hoped they would be great. Unlike the previous titles, which were doomed since the trailers came out, this had enough decent material to be good anime if they were treated properly. In specific, Cutie Honey could have been an average action ecchi comedy if it was not taking itself seriously, you know, like High School DxD, but it does and it's lame. They make the plot convoluted by starting with in media res, and the main villain plot armoring the heroine by killing her own warriors. Why do they try to make it smarter than what it is? Just play it straight! Also, it is proven once again how Go Nagai's ideas have been rehashed so many times by others, they mean nothing today. Devilman was his best work, and even that one was half-baked. Fist of the Blue Sky is bad because it is in CGI, what did you expect me to say? You don't do manly things like that. Punches and injuries look fake and everyone walks like a bulky robot from the 80s. Even if it wasn't CGI, the setting is not post-apocalyptic and thus doesn't have any charm. It's also very dumb in how everyone behaves. Why does every gangster have a Tommy gun and yet never uses it against martial artists? And why are the martial artists fighting each other when they know they are not the killers of their friend? I could accept this shit in a Mad Max world where everyone is a mentally retarded radioactive mutant, but this is a civilized setting. This is all pure bullshit. Golden Kamuy could have been a decent action adventure, but the mood transitions are terrible. They constantly change their minds and do completely different things in a fraction of a second, taking you out of the experience several times per episode. Also, there is nothing appealing about a story. It's a guy that cannot die looking for money and fights a CGI bear. So what? I bet most are going to be watching it for the lowly sidekick than anything else. Persona 5 is exactly like the video game I reviewed recently. I hate it. It's full of great ideas, ruined by sexualized teenagers and an empowerment fantasy for toonies. My Hero Academia doesn't miss the chance to prove how underwhelming it is in every episode. They constantly sexualize minors instead of having a goddamn plot. What happened to Stein? What happened to that guy with the hands threatening to kill them all? They act like nothing happened. And Steins Gate is about a time reset, so what do you expect me to say? You know the outcome, there is nothing new in it. It's just a side story that will be erased by the end of it, so none of this matters. You're just gonna be watching this for the memes and the autistic toony jokes. It's 100% hollow fan service of a show that wasn't even well written to begin with. An alternative dimension to a show that had a fine conclusion and serves only to further point out how time resets and infinite timelines make everything you do pointless. That's certainly not gonna backfire in any way. But who gives a shit? You don't care about common sense. You just want memes and waifus.
I am a scientist. It's so cool. Son of a bitch.
God, that was autistic. What's next? I am not gonna waste my time talking about most of the other shows, since we all know what they are about and they are not aiming high to begin with. There is the usual bunch of anime you will be watching just for the fetishes, another bunch you will be watching to relax and forget by the time you wake up next morning. There is Looping the Third as the only episodic adventure type of deal for this season. Nothing new in it, it's the exact same format for hundreds of episodes over 50 years. There is a bunch of comedies and satires you are watching to laugh and forget very fast, despite Crunchyroll hyping them up as the ultimate evolution of their kind or some shit. Nothing tops Mahujin Guru Guru because it had a plot. Then some not really romances the introverts will be watching to forget how lonely they are, before they also forget them by the time the next forgettable mediocrity comes out next season. Then some sports. Does anyone care about any of this? It's not Kuroko no Basket to at least watch them for the rule of cool. Even the most famous Captain Tsubasa went completely overlooked by everyone. People will be watching Food Wars instead of this shit. Then we have a couple of slice of life shows which are actually decent for what they are, not reliant on fetishes as much as being about slice of nothing. They are fine for what they are, but very few will be watching them because of how plain they are, as it happened with Showa Genroku. And now we are moving to the actual good shit of the season, meaning the only shows that were not dead on arrival. Obviously I'm on the fence, since they had fine first impressions, but it's uncertain if they retain their quality. Megalobox looks great with its almost post-apocalyptic setting, that's how Fist of the Blue Sky should be looking like, but even so, someone better be dead or permanently crippled by the end of it, or I will be very disappointed with this supposed spin-off of Ashita no Joe. As for Full Metal Panic, I just hope they won't go back to the silly antics of Season 1 and keep it as serious as it was in the second season. But I'm not sure about that, since the studio is infamous for its mediocre handling of any premise. And the best show of the season is the spaceships blowing up shit in space. Oh, and there are politics too, I guess. Yes, it's watchable. No, it's not nearly as good as the older version, we all knew that. The characters look like they are ready to play basketball, the exposition is terrible, and everything feels toned down. Other than that, it's okay. And that's enough to make it the best show of the season. Now watch the older version. Here is a truthful seasonal preview so you won't waste your time or be fooled by the hype of seasonal watching. Let's be completely honest right from the start. The only show everyone will be watching and talking about will be the third season of Attack on Titan. And even then it won't have near the hype of the first, because by now we all know the twists and they are all garbage. Even the manga was horribly paced at this point because the mangaka was trying to prolong the plot for the money and didn't know how since his initial ending was thrown in the trash. He even begged the animation studio to skip 4 volumes in the next arc, so it can end much faster because nobody cared about the political bullshit it had become. So have fun watching a show that was never good and now is a million times worse. Now moving to everything else that won't matter as soon as they are over. Let's start with the milking, the My Hero Academia filler movie, which doesn't matter by default, and the second season of The Avengers, which nobody wanted, nobody watched, and nobody cares for because it's just there to sell toys to little kids. 2 shows about cute girls doing cute singing. The stuff-tired Japanese who hate their job are watching every evening. Us here in the West, we don't give a shit, nobody's gonna watch this. 2 shows that are supposed to be horror when we all know they are just going to be cringe fests. One is by JC Stuff and it's a video game adaptation, so you automatically know it's gonna be crap. The other is something out of a yandere simulator. If you bother to watch them, it's just gonna be so you can laugh at them. Same thing with mysteries. Who's going to watch them when one openly says it's light about antiques, and the other is about magic, which never makes any sense? And then we get 6 soft porns, which only losers will be watching to masturbate instead of paying a visit to Pornhub. These shows lost their purpose over a decade ago, and yet Japan keeps milking them because by now most otakus are getting horny only by 2D women. 4 light novel adaptations, and they are about people playing video games or being overpowered in video game-like settings. We haven't seen that before, it's subversion. 6 comedies that are mostly going to be miss, and people will care only about the fetishes anyway. It's nice to see the industry respecting women by creating shows aimed at them that are nothing more than reverse harems. Let's not forget to ponder the edgelords with a bunch of shows that desperately try to present gore as maturity. A couple of mindless low-budget action shows nobody will care about because they won't have pretty colors. A generic mecha nobody will care about because it's not about references to older, better mecha and doesn't have waifu bots. And the generic sport nobody will care about because it's not about food porn. The rest of them might make some buzz, but it will go away in a couple of episodes since they have nothing new to say for the time they came out. The Fully Coolly sequel is completely unnecessary. The Baki sequel lost its hype a decade ago. Banana Fish looks interesting for the retro setting, but it's just going to be praised by Fujoshis to the point of scaring all heterosexuals away. The Kaiji spin-off is something not many will care about because it's not about Kaiji. And finally, who's going to watch a porn game adaptation about time travel when Steins Gate Zero is still airing? A complete failure of a season. Have fun not watching any of this trash. Go watch completed retro anime from a decade ago, back when the medium wasn't dead yet. Here is what will create some buzz, at least for a few episodes, in order starting from I kinda care all the way to everyone will be watching this for the views. Number 10 is Gridman, which people will check out because it's partially made by Trigger. That's it. There is no other reason, it's just the name of the studio. The same thing that happened with Darling in the Franxx. It's cancer time! Number 9 is the second season of Golden Kamuy, where we get to see more awkward CGI bears and cringy facial expressions of a loli that infodumps boring shit about a culture nobody cares about.
We're gonna see cancer! We're gonna see cancer! We're gonna see cancer!
Number 8 is the continuation of Fairy Tail, which men will be watching as their weekly trash. It would be higher on the list if the manga wasn't over, and the author hadn't admitted he was making up shit as he went along. Nobody's going to be overthinking it with these credentials.
I've been fucking waiting for cancer!
Number 7 is the Slime light novel adaptation, which many will be watching for how absurd it is, while also pretending it is smart with how the hero talks to monsters instead of killing them. Other than that, it's the usual trash.
Oh my god, I've been waiting for fucking cancer!
Number 6 is yet another season of Monogatari. It would be much higher on the list if anything that could be said has been said already in previous years. It's still going to be the harem of the season everybody will be jerking off to, while pretending it doesn't have fan service because it's art.
Yes! Yes!
Number 5 is the rest of Tokyo Ghoul Re, which many will still be analyzing for its flower symbolism and how much the manga is better, although even that ended in a bullshit way. It would be higher on the list if the edgelords could still speculate what flower will appear in the next chapter. Number 4 is the 5th arc of JoJo, which means the internet will be filled with memes and poses again. Too bad it's the worst season for what I'm told.
We're gonna see cancer! We're gonna see cancer! We're gonna see cancer!
Number 3 is Goblin Slayer, which nobody could shut up about since Grimgar came out because it fleshes out the goblins. Get ready for hours of overanalyzing the psychology of modern anime deviants. Monsters.
I've been fucking waiting for cancer!
Number 2 is the 3rd season of Index, which everybody will be watching for the new edgelord in town, Accelerator, just because he's overpowered and crazy, while pretending there is a lot of depth in the show because they have 1,000 pages of info dumps regarding magic.
Oh my god, I've been waiting for fucking cancer!
And the number 1 thing everyone will be watching and dick riding for the views is and forever will be Sword Art Online. Video games are serious business, Kawahara Reki is an amazing writer, and it gets really good after 5 seasons.
Yes! Yes!
And that's what everybody will be watching next season. And by everybody I only mean anime fans, because what the actual majority of watchers will be watching and talking about will be every trailer and first episode of every new cartoon that comes out, and they will always hate it. And that's why retro always wins! Because we didn't hate cartoons in the 80s and anime were amazing.
Oh, hell no!
Here is the seasonal evaluation, and it's as predictable as you can imagine. Wiz is the worst of the season because it's a sequel to one of the worst anime made by one of the worst studios. Remember when people thought Gohans had great animation? Well, not anymore. Remember when Kemono Friends was a surprise hit despite being CGI cancer? It was a combination of cute girls in a mysterious setting and the director who did his best despite not having to. Now the sequel came and nobody gives a shit because mystery baits can only work for as long as you don't have the answers. And because the director was fired and got replaced with another one. Well, what did you know? It turns out it was just a corporate cash grab all along that doesn't give a shit about the audience and is only making this abomination for promoting a video game nobody's playing. The Price of Smiles is yet another example of why you can't mix a gritty war setting with aloof cute girls. They clash too much with each other and there is hardly any meaningful theme exploration to make it matter. The shield hero goes for the usual bullshit that works so well since the time of Elf and Lead. You start with an episode that creates uproar, people run to watch what everybody hypes as mature and deep, and a few episodes later it turns into a generic harem. The Promised Neverland is cliffhanger bait. You watch a mostly empty of plot progression series for thrills that have no payoff and characters that have no appeal whatsoever. If this is supposed to be one of the alternative big three of shonen, you can imagine how bad things have become for the industry. Boogie Pop is something that aged badly, even when it was still new back in the late 90s. Whatever fame it had came from it being a bizarre light novel, at a time when the light novels were still experimenting and were not only isekai and harem trash. It's confusing to follow, the characters have no appeal, and in general it feels like a waste of time since it doesn't reward you with something at the end. Domestic Girlfriend is a soap opera. Tragic shit happen in the most convoluted way imaginable and the characters constantly don't communicate so the easily solvable conflict can perpetuate. Mob Psycho 100 is still a satire on overpowered main characters and should not be seen as anything more than that. The message of self-improvement is an illusion since absolutely nothing moves forward in terms of plot or character progression. Also, there is no depth in the theme, since most of the conflict is based on one-dimensional bullies victimizing someone so he can instantly get the moral high ground. Kaguya-sama is a generic romantic school comedy. Everybody hypes it because it treats love as war, which is just a gimmick that doesn't change the formula of typical Japanese school comedies, where the plot goes nowhere and none of the characters confesses his feelings so we can start having a romance. And best of the season is obviously Dororo, because unlike the previous nonsense titles, it has actual plot progression. It's simple, predictable, and mostly dull, but it exists nonetheless. Is it something anyone will bother to remember by next season? Nah. Yuno is a Steins Gate prototype without any charm or a reason to care about. Demon Slayer is a run-of-the-mill shonen with bland characters and a basic plot. Fruits Basket is a serviceable shoujo, but it's nothing great. Sarazanma is just Ikuhara doing more artistic perversion. There is absolutely nothing else to give a damn about. Carol and Tuesday is screwed by a lack of promotion and the name of Watanabe is no longer enough to automatically make something famous. Other than that, it's nothing special, it's just some chicks singing. Isekai Quartet is the cash grab of the season. Just take isekai characters, make an isekai out of the isekai, and joke about their interactions without giving a shit about the plot. One Punch Man was just a satire, as I've been always telling you. But the pretty colors made most to think it's a subversion. Now it doesn't have pretty colors, and everyone wonders why is it just a satire, and how come the snob was right all along? An attack on plot armor continues to move further and further away from what people liked about it in the first place, and it's now a completely different show very few still care or talk about since they've read the manga years ago. There is no mystery bait anymore, death has lost its importance, and even Studio Wit gives up on it after this season. As a whole, it was another wasteful season. I was just rewatching 80s movies for the annual standouts and I had a million times more fun than this nonsense. But let's see what is there to look forward to in summer. Dr. Stone, a science comedy or something, where people return to normal after petrifying for some reason. There is not much to care about if you're not into the whole civilization building gimmick. If you didn't like Log Horizon or That Time I Reincarnated as a Slime, don't bother. Shield Hero was just another isekai where the only thing people cared about was the justice porn. I am sure they're not gonna be fooled again by something similar such as Ari Fureta, right? Hey look, another season of that Index bullshit where people were watching it just for the cute girl spin-off. This one is gonna be about the edgelord antagonist, so hopefully it's not gonna be complete trash. It's gonna be complete edgelord material. The boob string is back, only this time nobody's gonna give a shit anymore because unlike the season the first part aired, there will be other things to hype. Ah, the SJW version of Saint Seiya. It worked so well for Voltron. I am sure people are not gonna rage over the gender politics and the breach of canon going on here. Vinland Saga is the only one I'm interested in, as it's one of the best manga I've read and the closest thing to Berserk. I mean that, they both start amazing and become boring after a major event. Hopefully it will stop at that event and there is not going to be another season ever.
If it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord. It's about a guy who finds this little girl who is bound to grow up to love this guy. It won't even be weird when they hook up. She's just a little girl he found. This will seem completely logical.
As usual, the title most are going to watch is The Gay Food Fetish. You know, that show that constantly breaks molds and curses and shit. It's the only shonen where every power has a backlash, and it's the only shonen that negates said backlash by giving the protagonist a lolly that heals him instantly. Unlike anything we've seen before. Then more Sword Art Online, which finally got good after 100 episodes. Have patience, guys, it's only 100 episodes. Then there's more food porn coming your way. It's supposed to be a school competition about learning how to cook, but everyone is watching it for the foodgasms, and it would be nice if they could just admit it. More 7 deadly sins which jump the shark with power levels that make no sense and powers that work however it suits the plot. Then the third season of Psychopaths, a show that was never good, as it was pretentious up to 11 and most lost interest because the colors weren't pretty in the second season. Did I mention how it's made by Urobuchi and how much I hate that guy? Then there is another Fate series that everyone will watch in hopes of it being as good as Zero, and once again they will be disappointed because it's just a porn game with ridiculous infodumps that gets milked to death for a decade. Did I mention how Urobuchi is part of it as well and how much I hate the guy? Then there's another dark sci-fi about weird themes that many are bound to overthink because it's also made by Urobuchi. Did I mention how much I hate the guy? Then we have the anime version of Zootopia for pleasing all the fairies with looks rather than substance. I mean, does it matter that they are all humanoid animals and not normal people? No. Then another isekai about another gamer going to another video game where he is broken and forms a harem. The creativity is over 9,000. And finally, the second adaptation of Blade of the Immortal for those who want depressing samurai flicks. I never cared about it because the main character is immortal, so what's the point? He's always going to be winning because he cannot lose. Mature, my ass.